When I was born, I was baptized in a church out in Wisconsin, a Catholic church where my dad was baptized when he was little. When we were back in Vegas, we started off going to Canyon Ridge. That was my first service ever attended was Canyon Ridge as a little kid. And then growing up, as we got busy, we didn't go as much as we probably would have liked to. And I still had my faith and my beliefs, but I didn't necessarily dedicate time to being active with it. And that lasted all through high school and even college. Didn't really have people in my life or a community, especially out there. And so once I moved home and I was like, something's missing. I dealt a lot with anxiety and some depression, and I just was like, something needs to change. So I started going to Canyon Ridge again. And one thing that I always loved, and ever since I was little, I've always been a big music person. So worship for me was always where I felt the most connected to God. And so in February of 2020, I reached out to try and be on the worship team. And I sent out my audition video, and then COVID hit. So I didn't really actually get to do anything with it. They had invited me to be a part of the Discovery Bible study that the worship team was doing at the time. My grandmother had just passed away. I was going through a weird limbo with what my life was gonna look like during quarantine. I was out of school. I was furloughed from my job for a little bit, and just things were so uneasy in my life. Just the Bible study group helped me through all of those hardships and helped me to learn about what my faith meant to me. It was just an amazing first exposure, I think, for me. I'm almost glad that I started in the Discovery Bible study when I was first deciding to go on this journey before I started with just jumping into the worship team. Now I'm at a point where 2 years later, I'm leading my own Discovery Bible study. Because that was that one act that kickstarted this whole thing, I feel like that was one of those moments where it could only have been God. And so for me, choosing to be baptized recently, even after I've already been on worship and kind of been doing Bible studies, and as I've kind of been developing my faith and figuring it out for myself, I thought originally when I first started, especially like a year and a half ago, I was like, I need to learn everything I need to know before I can get baptized. But then I realized I don't need to know everything before I can be baptized. I know that I've chosen to prioritize my faith and my relationship with Christ in my life. I can choose to say this is where I want my life to go, and that's all I needed. My life now, compared to about a year and a half, 2 years ago, I am the same person I was, but I know that by prioritizing faith in my life, I've allowed myself to find a little bit more peace and calm. It forces me during my day to take a second and rethink through things, think about the positive that I'm experiencing than just focusing on the negative. But I'm feeling God's presence in my life pushing me that direction. And now God's led me to finding a community of people that I'm still getting to know and getting involved with, and it's so good. It feels so good. And I'll keep making wrong choices and wrong turns, but I know at least now for certain that whatever I end up doing, God's going to get me where He wants me to go.